Welcome to the review of Archon. Archon is created by Freefall Associates, 1984, and published by Electronic Arts. The game begins by showing a checkerboard-looking object with different creatures and characters appearing. And basically it's white, or the good side, versus dark, the evil side. The game can be played either in one-player mode or two-player mode. In one-player mode, of course, you play against the computer. The game can be played using either the keyboard or a joystick. I highly recommend using a joystick because when I used the keyboard, the control was absolutely horrendous. The good news is you can remap the keys, something unheard of in an old game such as this. I chose to review with playing against the computer. Computer is light and I am dark. You begin by selecting a creature and moving it around on the screen. Each character and creature can have a certain amount of movements they can make in a given round. Some have the ability to walk on the ground, while others can fly. Some can even teleport. You'll notice the background of the squares keep changing color each round. That's to indicate who will have the advantage on a given color. Here is our first combat, and it's a phoenix versus a goblin. And the phoenix obviously obliterated the goblin with no problem. So now we send in our dragon. Some creatures have a melee type attack like this phoenix does, while the dragon has a range type attack. On the right side, the bar shows the hit points left for the dark side, and on the left side shows the hit points for the light side. Once the bar goes all the way down, combat's over. If you fight an enemy on the opposite color of your color, they get an advantage and more hit points. Here you can see a unicorn can shoot its ranged weapon very quickly. Each creature has certain advantages and disadvantages. Here this basilisk can shoot very quickly too. It's basically the equivalent of the unicorn. We're just fighting an archer. Now the genie has the ability to fly. His ranged attack is obviously very quick too. Now the goblin versus the archer, you would think the goblin would be able to massacre him pretty quickly, but the controls in this game are so terrible, it makes it hard to pull off an attack successfully. You'll notice also that there's these little blue and purple and kind of semi-transparent objects on the screen. Those are obstacles which can either block your attack or make you slow down if you move through them. Here we're fighting a troll versus a knight, and you can see the troll moves much more slowly, but it has a lot more hit points and can do more damage. This is a manticore versus an archer. And here's a troll again versus a unicorn. Even though the unicorn has a lot of hit points there, you'll notice the troll kills it in one hit. Now this is an interesting battle, a phoenix versus a banshee. They both have the same types of attacks. And since the light color had started on a stronger square, it has more hit points. One other thing to mention, a nice feature of the game, is that if a unit is injured, its hit points will be about the same the next time it fights. You can also cast spells in the game. Only the sorceress and wizard can do so. There's teleport, heal, shift time, exchange, summon elemental, and revive. Here we summon an elemental and a random one appears. This happens to be the earth elemental. The earth elemental is basically the equivalent of a troll or a golem. Slow moving but lots of damage and hit points. The flashing squares you see mean that any unit within them are immune to magic. The computer's AI is actually pretty good, especially for a 1984 game. It uses its magic quite skillfully. The sound effects in the game are definitely nothing to write home about either. It's basically beeps, blurps, and sounds like telephone rings. But again, I have to give it a little slack since it's 1984. Now here's the ultimate battle, the Sorcerers versus the Wizard. They're both the best units in the game. High hit points, quick attack, lots of damage, fast movement. Now when you win the game, this is what happens. It's a bit of an anticlimax. The game admittedly would be much more fun playing against another player. Overall, the game isn't very good. The graphics are pretty poor, the sound effects are terrible, the controls are horrendous. I only recommend this game if you're really bored. And this concludes the review of Archon.